Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want to be kept updated with my PhD journey. Last video you would have remembered that I started a co-op in a pharmaceutical company called Merck. The time is real flying, right? It's been 2.5 months already, and I just feel like it was just the other day when I got the offer letter and was excited to explore different aspects of my career. I know you remember me telling you that I needed to learn a new programming language. SQL is what they call it. Never touched it before, and it's like a big part of my project. Also, Python coding is something that I wasn't very strong in, but it's also like the guts of my project as well. So I need to get much better in those two languages in order to fully execute the deliverables for my project. So I was really struggling. I started feeling like, why the hell did they pick me of all the people they interviewed, knowing that I'm not strong in Python and I don't know any SQL, and that is like what you need to execute the project. So I really started getting down on myself, experiencing these high levels of imposter syndrome, because I was like, why the hell am I here, right? So I got the project started a little bit because it was a lot of data and I needed to be able to parse the data using Python, using SQL databases. And I did make some headway, but a crucial part of my project I could not figure out at all because I just did not have the experience with the language to know what tools or techniques to use to execute the different deliverables. So I exhausted one of my resources because I just asked way too many questions, and I realized that it was unfair because that's not what they're paid for, and I'm coming with these basic questions. So I decided I'll go to YouTube and start to really get some structure or foundational understanding of the coding languages, and YouTube was pretty helpful. Right, I was able to learn some fundamentals, learn a couple tricks here and there that I could use to inspire my project. So a little embarrassing story is that for the last 3 weeks, my mentor has been, expecting me to come back with some piece of the project finished, and I was really struggling each week to bring that endpoint together. Honestly, I really didn't know what the hell to do. So I was like, oh my gosh, no, not another week, not a third week is gonna meet me and my mentor and I'm gonna tell her, I don't have what you're looking for. So I really started getting anxious and nervous to the point where I'm not productive, right? I'm just worrying more about the fact that I haven't gotten anywhere, more than the fact that I should be looking at other resources to try to help me solve the problem. So I was speaking to my sister, and I was like, do you have any data scientist friends? I need some help. Like, put me in touch with somebody, please, before they fire me from this co-op. And she was like, hey, what? Send me the problem, write it down so that I could send it to my co-workers. So I was like, oh gosh, I had to do all that. I had to write out my whole problem and explain the details. So I was like, oh gosh. So I said, all right, fine. So after work, I sat down and I started writing a Word document, which she would share with, whoever she knew to help me with the problem. So I'm writing out my problem. So I am trying to do this, X, Y, Z, using that, blah, 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 blah. And funny enough, me going through that process, that methodological thinking that was required to explain the problem in the first place, helped me to crack a piece of the code that I was struggling with. So there was a part of the problem that I wasn't getting only because I wasn't internalizing what the problem really was. So when I said it out loud, tried to condense it on a piece of paper, that is when the light bulb sparked. So I wanted to share that with you, that maybe when you're struggling with things, it's because you're trying to think it through too fast. You're not really taking your time to understand the problem, and maybe going it over and explaining it to someone might help you solve the problem instead of them helping you. You might help yourself by, just explaining it to someone else. So that was interesting, explaining yourself to someone else may help drive that insight that you needed all along. Cool, right? So anyway, so that was only part of the problem. So I was happy that one out of the 3 weeks I was able to solve something. So there was another part of the project that I was really struggling with. I had no idea what to do, blah, 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 blah. So it was the 3rd week. It's hours before my meeting with my mentor, and I am like, feeling sad, feeling incompetent. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, why me? So I was like, all right, so I'm going on Google again, looking through all of these websites, Stack Overflow, Geek to Geeks, all of these things. And I found a piece of code, right? I found something. I was like, I wonder if this will work, boy. So I took the code and I changed it, of course, because it's not really applicable to what I was doing. And I changed it. And this is 5 minutes before my meeting with my mentor with nothing to show. And the thing worked. 2 minutes before my meeting, this code solved the problem that I was struggling with. So Google, even though it takes a lot of time to scavenge the internet to find exactly what you're looking for, most likely the problem or the answer to the solution, or part of it at least, is there. Somebody else in the world has probably thought about this before and applied it to some other situation that you could use and adapt. So I was happy that I was able to take the code and be able to adapt it to suit my my needs and finally present this thing to my mentor. She was really happy. She was like, okay, great, finally, because of course she's waiting. Like, yo, I hired you. Why we don't got this yet? Granted, in my head, I'm like, why you hire me? Like, I don't know what the hell that was. But I feel much better. I feel really good about my progress learning SQL, my progress with Python. One of my New Year's resolutions for 2021 was to become very competent in Python and machine learning. And during my PhD, I just kept pushing it off. I just used a little piece for what I needed, but I never really dug in and got into the guts of Python. And now I definitely am during this co-op, and I'm kind of happy, even though it started off very shaky and I was doubting myself and I probably thought I was going to be fired. Now I think I could hold my own. Like, I know some tools, some techniques. Scavenging the internet helps, YouTube helps, and then now this newfound trick of writing out the problem or trying to explain it to someone else so that I could better understand how to solve it. Those are 2 interesting things that helped me keep my co-op this month. I'm just kidding. I'm sure they're probably not going to fire me. I'm just like, overanalyzing and putting a lot of self-doubt and trying to discourage myself when all I really need to do is to keep pushing through, keep finding the solutions, and eventually I will get there. Last video, I also told you that one of my co-workers was telling me that I shouldn't just come into the company and do my assigned project and be fed like a baby bird. Those were his exact words. So I have been engaging in other projects. I've been volunteering to help people with their project testing because we have a lot of digital devices that we're trying to evaluate to see whether we can include them in clinical trials. So I'm like, hey, yeah, I could test that out for you. I could give you 2 weeks of my time, a couple hours a day to give some market research feedback on the products. And now the same co-worker is encouraging me to co-lead a market research project with him. So I feel like I have more responsibility now, doing more than one project, not only the one that I was hired for. So I am feeling myself being tugged in different directions, and there is a fight for my time. But I do think it's beneficial to feel, for my co-workers or my teammates to feel like I add value to their projects as well. So I have to balance understanding coding, learning as I go, a very steep learning curve for me, and still spreading my time, spreading my resources. And overall, I think that will be very filling for me because especially as I'm making these connections, not only my immediate mentor would know about my work ethic, but hopefully the others on my team, so that they could also speak on behalf of me if, you know, I need a letter of recommendation, or perhaps a reference, or, you know, just a voice that, hey, this person is a good worker, you know, I vouch for this person. So hopefully I could, you know, make those sound connections during the time here. What was also really nice was that I got an email, an internal email from Merck, where this PhD co-op student reached out to a bunch of other PhD co-op students at Merck. And I didn't know there were so many. I thought I was like, not that there were none, but I thought it was rare for someone to, you know, take some time off from their PhD work and do this 6 months co-op. Like, not many advisors approve of that or want you to leave and go and pursue industry. That's kind of taboo. And they were even shocked that my advisor allowed me to, you know, take this time off of my work to pursue industry. Like, that's crazy. They have work to get done on the academic side. They want to push out grants. They want to push out papers. Why would I want my student to go to industry, you know? And I'm very fortunate. I'm fortunate that my advisor, you know, allowed me to take on this this opportunity. And I kind of got a little help in the sense of, because I had my external NSF funding, you know, she was like, okay, yeah, you know, sure, because it's not coming directly out of her budget. So I had a little more flexibility there. But I'm sure it hurts. I'm sure it's a little negative on her. But hopefully, you know, I come back from the co-op with some additional value where I could, you know, help improve the lab in certain ways, or introduce them to maybe a better way of thinking or a better methodology for maybe storing data, etc. And overall, so far, I feel really positive about the experience. So anyway, getting back to the whole point. So we have this nice little virtual mixer with other PhD co-ops. And it was really nice. I met a girl who is from Trinidad, and she's also a PhD co-op. She's not on the same site as I am, some other state within the US. And, you know, I just met a lot of other people who had the same exact experiences as me. They came in not knowing Python, not knowing whatever language, not knowing whatever field. Some people come in as a bio whatever, and now they're only on a team with chemists. And just hearing their different experiences made me feel a lot better. That, hey, there's so many other people out there pushing and fighting and struggling too, because the same way I heard one of the individuals, they were telling me how much they were struggling with Python. And another co-op was able to say, hey, you know, they have Python happy hour. You know, they have, you know, if you use your Merck email address, you'll be able to get this training, data training. So that was just amazing insight. So yeah, and one of the co-ops was able to say, hey, while you're here, get your resume revamped. Like, let one of these industrial people look at your resume and update it in a positive manner. And I was like, yes, I'm going to do that. And they just gave such great advice that I am going to be so happy to share with you by the end of this co-op. So thank you for watching. It was wonderful seeing you all. I'm here parked up at this megabus station waiting for my sisters. We're going to have some fun today. And yeah, like, I'm just so excited. This project is going to kick off. And now that I feel a little better about it and I believe a little more in myself, I have high hopes. So look out for something great in the future. Talk to you later.